Hey team, this is our exit ticket from yesterday. I'm going to go through each one, tell you what the most incorrect chosen answer was, and what the actual correct answer is. And I want you to look for it this whole time, how I use the quadrilateral tree to help me answer the questions. Here we go. Number one, a lot of us said C, that both figures have one pair of parallel sides. We're talking about rectangles and rhombuses. C is incorrect because rectangles and rhombuses are parallelograms, meaning they have two sets of parallel sides. Now, the correct answer was A, that both figures are squares. Remember, we're trying to find an answer that is sometimes true. So, when I look at rectangles and rhombuses, let's see, here is my rectangles. And here's my rhombuses. When I look at rectangles and rhombuses, we could separate or sort my rectangles even further into rectangles that have 4 equal sides. Or I could sort my rhombuses even further into rhombuses that have 4 right angles. And that would give us squares. But that is only going to be that will only work for some rectangles and some rhombuses. Not all rectangles and rhombuses are going to be squares. Only some of them will be. So our answer was A. Number 2, which statement is true? The correct answer here was D. All squares are rectangles. Let's look and see why. When I look at squares, okay, squares come from the rectangle family. Squares are a type of rectangle. They are also a type of rhombus. Since a square has 4 right angles, like a rectangle does, then a square can also always be called a rectangle because it has 4 right angles. So D was our correct answer. Let's look at question 3. The correct answer was A. The question asked which set of attributes, okay, applies to a parallelogram, a rectangle, a rhombus, and a square. So let's see. A says 4 sides and 2 sets of parallel sides. Let's look at those shapes and see if that is true. So they said we were going to look at parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus, and square. We're only looking at those ones. We're not looking at this or this at all. Now, we have to go through each answer choice. Look at A again. 4 sides. Let's see. Let's see if they all have 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, they all have 4 sides. We know this because they're a part of the quadrilateral family. Quadrilaterals are 4-sided figures. So, yes, they do have 4 sides. Now, the second part said 2 sets of parallel sides. So let's see, do they have 2 sets of parallel sides? Let's look at parallelogram. It says right here, 2 sets of parallel sides. Let's look at rectangle. 2 sets of parallel sides. Let's look at rhombus. 2 sets of parallel sides. Let's look at square. 2 sets of parallel sides. So each one of them also has 2 sets of parallel sides. So that was also correct. Notice how I checked the description for each one of those 4 shapes before I chose an answer. I looked at the quadrilateral tree, I found the shapes I was supposed to be looking at, and I checked to see if that description was true.